Welcome back. Welcome. In this podcast, I'm going to be giving you a short update on knitting projects. I don't have a lot on the go right now, and they're just small accessories, but they've captured my interest so far, and I'm having fun with them. And then I'll follow up with a topic that I had talked about in a podcast in November, and that is about retirement planning. So I will follow up from that topic with another some things to think about for the process if you're thinking about moving to a retirement community. So I'm Julie. I'm the Yarn Yogi, and I'm based in Eastern Pennsylvania. I live here with my family. I'm partially retired, still working part-time in the field of human resources and also teaching yoga part-time. I teach mat classes and chair classes. For the chair classes are for seniors who uh, would like to have more ideas on how to do something good for their body, stretching, and taking care of our bodies for now and also into the future. On my channel, instead of trying to sell you products, my goal is to just provide some calming content, something for you to listen to in the background if you're working, in the house or doing some knitting, perhaps, and then just also provide some interesting topics, things that I'm thinking about or maybe have experience with. The current topic is retirement planning. As I said, my husband and I are preparing. Right now, we're in like the middle of a year of preparation for downsizing to an apartment in a retirement community. So right now we live in a house, 2,000 square feet. It's not huge, but we do have stuff, and working at that downsizing process slowly and trying to figure out what we need for the future. So I can take you on that journey with me. We are reserved in an apartment, new construction, an apartment building in a retirement community in the local area. So if you're curious about that process and what things you need to think about during, that process and before, stick with me. It might answer some questions that you might have about becoming a prospective resident in a retirement community. Well, I'll be happy to give you a little update on some of the things I've been working on, my knitting projects. I've been mostly, it seems like, working on smaller things, accessories. I do have a sweater in mind for the future, but for now, I don't know. Post-Christmas, I just got into accessories, knitting for Christmas and gifts, and so I just kept it up, and that's kind of my groove right now. So it's fun, and I'm enjoying it. And they're projects that go more quickly. I am wearing one of my small. Oops, sorry if I hit the microphone. One of my small projects, small scarves, Sophie scarf, of course, and little I-cord edging, and just make the greatest gifts for just knitting ahead for people or knowing what color they like and just being able to make one. I have a couple for myself, and I would like to make a few more for gift knits in the future, so they're very versatile. And I will show you a sock project that I did for my husband for Christmas. A pair of socks from Peyton's Croy sock yarn. A really nice colorway, very almost like hunting socks or something like that. They have a real vintage look, I think. Love the colors. He loves them. And yeah, like I said, Peyton's Croy, and I just got the yarn off of Amazon. One ball of yarn per sock seemed to do it, and I just had this much left, so pretty good estimation there of how much yarn. for a medium pair of socks. And I used the Crazy Sock Ladies 9-inch circular vanilla sock. And I used 2x2. I did 2x2 ribbing just because I like how that looks, and because I don't love I don't love purling. So if I can do uh, knit 2, purl 2 instead of knit 1, purl 2, I'm happy. But I do like the way it looks too. Using the slip stitch heel and heel flap and gusset construction and a Kitchener toe. So they really turned out well. They are not exactly matched, although funny, maybe because I used 2 different balls of yarn and they're wound the same or something. But these socks, the toes ended up like really similar in striping until after the heel, and he's perfectly fine with that. He thinks it's kind of cute, and the tops are not quite even as far as the colors, but they are pretty much down through. So, and not the colors are not that wildly different that it even matters. So it makes it kind of fun, and we like how they turned out. So I recommend this sock yarn. It's a little thicker. It feels a little thicker to work with and makes a heavier sock. But Payton's Croy is, of course, very affordable, and they have lots of great colors. So that is the one sock project. I made a gift knit pair of socks, which I can't show you because they were given away at Christmas time. But I'm working on a pair for myself using Madeline Tosh. Oops. And the colorway Antique Moonstone. And this, there goes the ball band. And I just love how this knitted up. If I get my face out of the camera, then it will focus. Isn't that great? The colors are just wonderful. A little bit of brown in there. They're looking a little bit more periwinkle on camera than they are. They're more muted than that in person here. But same pattern, Crazy Sock Lady. I like the 9-inch circulars. You end up doing a heel or the toe with magic loop anyway. So, but I just prefer the 9-inch circulars. And so the one sock, that one I blocked, so I know how that looks and feels after that. And then here is, I'm this far working on the heel for the second sock. This is what the yarn looks like. It's really beautiful. I was able to see it in person. I bought it at a yarn shop in Charlottesville, Virginia, and really prefer, so much nicer to see yarn in person and see what it's really going to look like. But those are my 2 small sock projects for now. I don't know, I seem to be doing a lot of socks right now, but that might change, or maybe I'll do some shorty socks for the springtime. The second small object that I'm still working on, work in progress, is the Italian summer scarf. I'll put the pattern picture up on the top. An Italian summer scarf by the Italian knitter. An Italian knitter. And this is a really easy pattern. Uses 100 grams of yarn, and I used a cotton yarn, so it's a little more drapey, especially with the eyelet rows. You make an eyelet row every 10 rows with the nice tapered point, which I like. As a petite person, it gives me less fabric at the end of a scarf. So look at that drape for cotton with cotton yarn. The yarn is from Quince and Company, Willet, Texas organic cotton, and the colorway is Hauser 712. And I love the inscrutable color. You know, is it gold? What is it? Does it have some green in it? I'm not sure. I think it looks pretty true to life on camera too, but love it. Really fun, mindless, not totally mindless, but kind of mindless knit. Now, my only concern is that I am getting to the end, but I'm not at the end, and this is all I have left. So I'm a little worried that I've been decreasing a little bit faster here because I see I don't want to have to buy, go out and get another ball of yarn, which may or may not look exactly like this. So I'm brainstorming ideas of, okay, am I going to make the tips a different color? We'll see how far I get with this, but I may need to frog back part of this other tip and make it the same color, find some kind of neutral. I'm not sure. We'll see how it works out. It's a mystery, but that's part of the fun of knitting. So I really recommend this pattern. It's a fun, easy knit, would make a nice gift. And again, an Italian knitter and her pattern. Well, I'd like to give you another update on my scarf. I finished it. It's a few days later, and as you can see, I made it to the end, and I don't think that the points are wildly different. They're a little different if you look closely, but I did more frequent decreases on the other side of the scarf when I saw that the yarn was getting low, as I showed you earlier, and this is all I have left. So it was really very close to running out, but I didn't. I was afraid I would need to make the tips a different color, a contrast color, in order to if I ran out of yarn at the end, but I didn't. So it's a lovely pattern by the Italian knitter. It's called an Italian summer scarf, and I really recommend it. I'd like to talk to you about a topic that has been on my mind quite a bit in the past couple of years. I am turning 70 this year, and my husband is 4 years older than I am. So we need to start thinking of the future while we have the health and the mental capacity to really make those decisions and direct that process, participate in the process, most importantly, and not put it on to someone else who is near and dear to us, like our relatives and our friends. So we've observed different scenarios of different people that we know, friends and family, and have seen different scenarios play out in people's lives. A spouse can suddenly develop an illness or be diagnosed with something like Alzheimer's and need to make the switch, the decision quickly. What are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Can we stay where we're living, or shall we move elsewhere? And so here are just a few things to think about in that process, well, and actually before you get to that point. So that's what I'd like to talk about. There are many options to where deciding where you will live in the future, and maybe you will stay where you are. I want to make it clear, I'm not a retirement planner. I'm not a retirement advisor. I'm just talking out of my own experience and my own passion for this topic, for people to begin thinking sooner rather than later about a plan. Especially if there are both, two people involved, you have a partner or a spouse, and you need to negotiate that if you're not on the same page with the topic of where we're going to live in the future. You need to start working on that sooner rather than later. So I have a few notes here, so excuse me if I look down once in a while, but I wanted to have the content organized so that I'm not just talking off the top of my head and being like all disorganized about it. So I do have a logical progression of the topic in front of me. So option one, can you age in place? Is that an option for you? Do you have children or relatives or friends nearby who can help you if you need their help? What is your plan if you're currently caring for a spouse or a partner who has an illness, who has cancer or Parkinson's, as my mother does? Or what if something happens to you? If you are the caregiver for your spouse, your partner, I'm sorry, I just hit the camera. What is your plan if something happens to you as the caregiver? Is your place where you live now, is it elderly friendly? Do you have some zero entry points? My mother, who has Parkinson's, has difficulty even stepping up onto one step from the garage into the house. So is your place set up for the future? My parents were in their late 80s and could still take the stairs in a split level house. So the stairs are not a foregone conclusion that you need to eliminate stairs, but they do become very difficult, obviously, when you're older and your joints are not what they used to be. Option two, could you move closer to siblings or children so that they can be your support, your help when you need it? And my tip for that would be move sooner. As I said before, move when you're able to participate in the move, and you're able to have fun and learn to know people in your new setting. Option three, you could move to a retirement community. And this is where I'm talking out of my experience. And I would say preferably a CCRC, which means continuing care retirement community, which means it offers all levels of care. You can start in independent living. You don't have to, but there's independent living where you have an apartment or a cottage and you don't need help. There is a personal care level where you do need help. You're still in your own apartment room or smaller apartment, and there are nurses who will give you meds and that sort of thing. You have more options for care there, or the skilled care, the full nursing part of the community where you have 24/7 care from CNAs, from LPNs and RNs. So that is a good place to be if you only want to move once and you're thinking about a retirement community. Some people go right into personal care, but if that's all they offer, then if you're no longer able to go to the dining room for your meals, if your mobility is limited, then you will probably need to think of moving again into a CCRC. So why not start there, right? And you have levels, access to those levels of care. So like I said, move sooner rather than later. That is my tip. so that you can participate in the move, so that you can do the downsizing yourself, or at least participate in it, and and enjoy your new setting and make new relationships, form new friendships. And I'm telling you, your children and your relatives will thank you if you are an active participant in your move and not just say, I want to die in my house, because that puts all of the stress and the work on your loved ones. People that I know who are nieces and nephews of their aunts and uncles. So aunts and uncles are maybe single and have no children, um, and have fewer support. The nieces and nephews end up, and they're 2 generations younger, end up giving a lot of time. They have busy lives, and they come and they must rescue their elderly relatives who waited too long to decide on a plan. So that can cause some resentment with people who now need to clean out your house on their empty weekends, and they may need to travel to do that. So, what is the process of becoming a resident in a retirement community? If this is something that you're even remotely interested in, you should look into it now, sooner rather than later. As I said, you'll hear me say that a bunch of times, because uh, we're baby boomers. There's a lot of us, and there are limited retirement communities. And so, if you're interested in this, there is quite a bit of competition, especially at where we live in Lancaster County. It's a desirable place to retire, and there are a number of retirement communities here. And so I'm speaking out of that context. If you're living in Europe, or if you're living in another part of the U.S., that may not be the case. If you're in a more isolated area, I'm not sure, but I'm speaking out of like Eastern Pennsylvania context. So I would say tip number one, get your name on a waiting list now. Even if you're not sure that you want to live in a retirement community, if you're even remotely interested, it doesn't cost you much. If anything, it may be $100 by now or something. You put down some small amount to get on a list, and then at least you have a spot on a waiting list, and maybe you put your name on a couple of lists if you can't decide. At least you've got your foot in the door there, and you've got a number, and you're like in the system, and you can change your mind later. Because I've heard stories. I just talked to someone the other day who lives at my parents' retirement community. They are older than I am, and they said they got their name on the list, and the wait is 8 years. So for an apartment, and they'll probably take just about anything that comes available. So the sooner you can do that, the better. And it doesn't mean you can't change your mind or just forget about the whole idea later. At least you have the option if you have your name on the list. So then after that, you are assigned a number, like I said, on the waiting list, and you'll indicate at that time whether you'd like to live in an apartment or a cottage, where you can choose two. You can choose apartment and a cottage, or a personal care room. Maybe you already have some physical issues, some health issues, and you know that you'll want to go directly into personal care. Or you have a relative who would want to go into memory care, which is another part of these continuing care retirement communities. There are several options, and you can put your name in for more than one, and then see what comes up. There are various pricing levels according to size of the place, and so you'll submit your financial information, I think, at that time, if that's my memory, and then they will let you know what you qualify for. So they won't get you into a situation where you're committing to an apartment that you can't afford. So it's nice that way. They want to be sure that you can also pay your bills, so it's a mutual arrangement. So you will then, in the meantime, you'll be on this waiting list, but in the meantime, you should start downsizing. Even if you start small, if you know that the wait will be 6 years or 4 years or whatever, still start now. Start to look at your things, start to make those decisions, go through closets, start small. It's really, it can be a thing to wrap your brain around to think of giving your things away or throwing your things away. It takes a while to make those decisions, and they can be painful, but start sooner rather than later. So they will offer you eventually, the retirement community will contact you when as your number moves up the list. They will let you know that you're moving up and that your number is now whatever on the list, so that you have some kind of idea of where you stand. When you get up to the top of the list, they'll offer you, for an example, maybe an apartment. If you indicated you would like an apartment or a cottage, they will show you one that will be vacated within 3 or 4 months. So you get a chance to look at it. You can walk through the apartment or one like it, and you can decide if you would like to be in that location, if you like the view, if you like the layout of the rooms, the size, the pricing, all of that. And you can say no. And in the case of our experience, we could say no 3 times. And if you say no to an offer more than 3 times, then you do get bumped further down in the list. So there are consequences for for not saying yes and moving forward in the process. So when you decide to accept an apartment or a cottage, then you will sign paperwork, and you usually pay about 10% of the entrance fee. And you can change your mind about that in a certain number of days, and they will let you know. The entrance fee is determined by the location of the apartment and of its size. And in our case, we have committed to an apartment that has 2 bedrooms plus a den. And its total size is 1515 square feet. So about 1,500 square feet. It includes a garage, like a 1-car garage, and it is covered in this case, and a storage cage, which is about 4 feet by 4 feet. So that's just one example of a scenario. So in eastern Pennsylvania, like I said, there are a lot of good quality retirement communities. So the entrance fee that I spoke about, which is when you basically buy or rent your apartment in the community, it can be here in this area around 300,000 to 500,000 or more. So it's roughly, well, it'll be more than the sale of our home. So that's what helps you have that cash to pay the entrance fee when it's time to do that. After that, you will, after you do your down payment, your commitment to the apartment, you'll get a floor plan of your new home, and you can start just making decisions, like definite decisions, what you have room for, which furniture you're going to keep, which do you need to donate or sell, and how the arrangement of that will look. I found some free software online. There's a different floor planner kind of freeware. Well, they also want you to, commit and have a membership, but you can work with the free version of it. At least I could, to arrange the furniture, to help me know what will fit in the floor plan, and then that helps us know what furniture we need to get rid of. So that was fun to work with that. At our apartment, in our particular case, is in a building that's under construction right now. So our timeline is kind of fixed and way out in the future. So we've been working on this a year. We will move at the end of this year, we think. That's the projected finish date. And so it's nice to have that end point, and then we know, well, throughout this year, we have this amount of time to downsize and to get organized here. In another scenario, you might be agreeing to an apartment that needs to be renovated. So it already exists in the retirement community, and they will always renovate before a new resident moves in. So in that scenario, it might take 3 to 4 months to do that renovation. That was the case for my parents. It was 3 months. And so at that time, then you have time to sell your current home, put it on the market, continue your downsizing, which you've already started, hopefully, during the past year. And then you get to choose your paint and your flooring, your countertops, appliances. Those things are usually new for a renovated apartment. So you get to start fresh with a bunch of new things. Some of the things they might not replace, maybe the bathroom tile or something. If it doesn't need to be replaced, they may not. But almost everything else is new. The kitchen cabinets will stay, probably. Whatever a previous resident has chosen, that's what you'll get. But in our case, it was new construction, so we were able to choose the kitchen cabinets and some things like that. So that makes it more appealing to be a part of a new construction project. And then at the time of move-in, and I'm speaking from experience, only from my parents' experience, because I helped them move in 2.5, 3 years ago. So that final payment is then due. So the balance from your deposit, the balance of your deposit to the total cost, that balance is due. And usually they work with you on the timing because your assets from your home sale will be partially serve to pay for the final payment into the retirement community. So they're usually flexible with that because you can't control the different aspects of your home sale. Often you're negotiating with a buyer and their timetable as well. So I found it an easy process. You could also get a bridge loan if that's not working out. But in my case, I could, for my parents, just use the proceeds from the home sale, and there was some left over after that. When you live in a retirement community, there is a monthly fee for life in that retirement community. So in addition to your paying your entrance fee, there is a monthly fee, and that often ranges from $2,500 to maybe up to $3,800 a month. It can be more than that, but that's the range that I've seen in the place where we are heading for. So that pays for amenities like fitness center, different cafes and restaurants that you have available to you. It's access to healthcare and various activities that they organize. So when I figured it out, it came out to a little bit higher than what we would have normal monthly fees if we were in our own home, and we would be paying for things like internet and TV, property taxes, homeowners insurance, things like that. It is a little bit higher, but that's because it gives you access to these various levels of care. So if you're living in a retirement community and you have a fall and you need some therapy or something like that, you can go to the skilled area. You can be admitted to a bed in the skilled care area and recover there. And it's more of a sure thing than if you're living in your own home. you might get sent for recovery to who knows where, you know, a subpar um, retirement skilled care area. And so it gives you a little more control over your environment should those things happen. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. Um, I would say the most important takeaways would be start downsizing now. If you're in your 70s and you're thinking about moving to be nearer to your children or anything, if you're thinking about a move in the future, start now. It's a long process. You can do it quickly, but most people like to take their time and sort through their things and remember their lives. And so just yes, start thinking about that now. And also get your name on a list or several lists if you're even remotely interested in living in a retirement community. It doesn't mean you need to go there. You can bail out later. So those are my tips. What are your thoughts and experiences with retirement planning for yourself, for someone else? Please leave your comments below. Let me know. Let me know if I missed anything. Maybe give me a like if you found this content helpful. Thank you. Have a great day.